Field Cup 2017. We had very unusual positions, something that doesn't happen very often. So we had to spend a lot of time to actually understand the intricacies of the position. So I am 2 points up, and I expected to have a win somewhere, but I looked at the position and the obvious moves seemed to lean towards a draw, or at least something that I couldn't be certain of. For instance, if I just leave the position like this, so he will exchange 1 pair of pawns, bring his bishop back to the game, and my problem was the knight. I couldn't make my knight work, so I have at some point to give up my pawn on f3, and it seemed to me that it was leaning towards a draw, and it's actually the case. So, and it was a 6 hour of the game, and like I said, the game was very tense, so I was very tired, but I still tried to summon my energy and not to play automatically, because I felt the win was close in my hands. And at the end of the day, I realized that I should play the move c4 with the idea that after bishop d5, so now I keep some pawns on the queen side, and it's very important if Magnus doesn't move, because for instance his pawn on c3 will be a big weakness, and I can easily win. For instance, if he plays, like if he doesn't take this pawn on c4, I will just do something like this with my knight coming to d6, protecting c4, and then to e4, maybe bring my king towards the queen side. It would be an easy win. So of course, now Magnus had to take the pawn, but now the difference is I play king to g4, so I threaten king g3, so king f2 has to be played, and now my knight comes back into play. And so my knight is aiming to e5, where it protects e3, but my pawn on f3, but also is active. I cannot check the king. The thing is, of course, I had to consider that he will get my pawn to h5, so restore material balance. But here it's actually a clear win. For instance, I played knight to d3, after king f1. I just bring my king to g3, and this pawn is too strong, and also the knight on d3 is doing a great job, because I prevent any sort of c4 because the pawn on b4 is under attack. So this way I won the game, and later on the tournament. It was not the first time, but the second time I bet him in a classical game. But of course, to beat him as black, and in the in a situation where I was looking for my first tournament win and so on. In general, I don't get affected in terms of physical reactions, but of course there's always physical tiredness. I quite like the end games. I quite like the calculation around the end games. So this is always where I like the play to go, because I know that I will not play weaker than anyone else, and sometimes stronger.